Good evening and welcome. I'm Michael O'Year. Tonight we're on the sidelines of the Sterling Quality annual cocktail, and the guest of honor at this cocktail is none other than Mark Obama Ndesandjo. He's here also promoting his book, An Obama's Journey, My Odyssey of Self-Discovery Across Three Cultures. Welcome.
Thank you, Michael. It's an honor to be here.
It's good to have you.
Thank you so much for your warm welcome.
This odyssey of self-discovery,
Yes.
where does it take us?
It's a story that begins about 50 years ago when my father, Barack Obama Sr., went to the United States to study, and that's where he met my mom. And they fell in love. He invited her to come back to Kenya, and they got married, and I was born the following year. It starts in Africa. And it's a story that goes across the United States and also goes to China, which is where I live right now. The goal I had in writing this book was to tell my story myself and not have other people tell it for me. Secondly, to explain a little bit about the Obama family, which to many people is a mystery. And the third thing is to also talk about the importance of following your dreams as a mixed race person or a person in a global community across different cultures.
So how did you end up in Kenya?
Well, when Barack Obama Sr., he met Stanley Ann Dunham, the president's mother, at Hawaii, and that's where they fell in love. They got married. Barack was shortly conceived after that. And right after that, around the early 1960s, he divorced and then went to Harvard to pursue his doctorate in economics. And it was while he was there that he met my mom, who was teaching. This is in the year 1964, in the summer of 1964. It was a very quick romance. And he went back to Kenya later that year, and he invited her to follow, which she did. She had never been on a plane before in her life. And, she had never been to Africa. And it was very, very difficult at that time, 1960s. Miscegenation, interracial marriage is forbidden in over 20 states in the Union. And yet love is very powerful. So that December they got married in Kenya, and the following year I was born.
Great. So you're Kenyan?
Yeah, I'm an American, but I consider myself having three homes: Kenya, China, and America.
Kenya first.
I don't go into pulling one against the other.
Well, you're in Kenya now.
I'm in Kenya now.
Why are you in Kenya, and how did you get to Kenya now?
Well, the thing is that I was born here. I lived here for 18 years before I went to college. And it taught me a couple of things. It's very difficult as a mixed race kid growing up in Kenya, being white and black. Not white or black, white and black. And the thing is that, but I also remember it made me strong. Africa is a place that teaches one about survival. And at the same time, it's where my story begins. And my mother, as you know, she has been here for 4 decades, maybe even longer than that actually. And she's a person who is my family. And I have other family too. I reconnected with the Obamas, in the Kisumu area. And I come back often to visit my family and also to get inspiration for the things that I write.
All right. So you've just written An Obama's Journey.
Yes.
And your relationship.
And it's the second book. It's the second book.
It is the second book,
Right.
of course. Nairobi to Shenzhen.
Right.
Your first book.
Yeah, exactly.
Your relationship with the Sterling Quality Company. How did that start?
Well, actually, it was fascinating, and it's a testament to Paul O'Year's tenacity that we actually got this done, because it was more or less on a whim. Through my family, through our school, Paul learned that I'd given concerts actually in China, and he got in contact, with my mom, and I remember, him. I think it was he or mom, like 2 years ago, saying, "Why don't you come to Kenya and do a concert?" And there were so many things that got in the way. I loved this idea, but there were scheduling issues. How do we actually put this? What's the focus of it, and so forth. And then Paul was extremely persistent. And then with this book, it seems like there was additional impetus to actually go ahead and do something. So I'm very fortunate and very honored to have a professional company like Sterling Quality actually work with me on this book launch here in Nairobi.
Oh, great. So they brought you in for the book launch?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Fabulous. You're a businessman,
Yes.
but you're also a philanthropist.
I try to help a little, to make a little bit of a difference.
Tell us about your foundation.
Well, the foundation was set up in Hong Kong, Michael, in 2013. It's an outgrowth of pretty much work that I've been doing for the past 12 years in China, which is bringing art education to kids. I've been teaching kids in China to play piano every month, at least bi-monthly, since I arrived there in 2002. And I found that music makes an incredible difference in the confidence of kids, and also it helps me too. A lot of the issues that I bring up in the book, which talk about difficulties in our family as growing up, and also being a mixed-race person in an increasingly global world, which is significant because the president's family, for example, I think is a very global family, were helped by my experiences working with the kids. And I saw the difference in me and the difference in the children that I was working with, and I said, let's find a way in which we can actually try to expand this. So we have so we set up the foundation recently, and part of the profits in the book are going to go to that. Also, we have two programs which are sort of fun. One is called P+1, which is Piano Plus One. The goal is to bring a piano plus a teacher. Pianos are not enough. You can't just have an instrument. You need a teacher like yourself, to be able to teach the kids. So the P+1 program raises money for kids and pianos and teachers in poor, underserved schools anywhere in the world. We started this in Shenzhen. It's doing very well. The second program we have, which is one of our key programs, is orchestras and youth bands, to bring kids into orchestras and play together with piano, trumpet, guitar, any musical instrument really, even classical Chinese instruments. Maybe we can get some classical Kenyan instruments sometime in the future.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thank you.
You said the president.
Yes.
Who?
Oh,
Uhuru Kenyatta?
No. Of course, I'm referring to my brother, Barack Obama. I refer to him as Barack. Everyone says you should call him the president, or they imply as much. But he's my bro, and he's my big brother. And the book, one of the goals of the book was also to talk a little bit about that relationship, and also, also to talk about how, in some ways, he's been an inspiring figure in my life.
How is the relationship?
Well, out of respect for his privacy and his feelings, I'm not going to comment any further at this point. But in the book, I've talked about moments which have been very intense. For example, I know that during the Austin, during the first debate, when he got to be the president, Barack was the one who said, "Mark, follow your own life, and don't worry about me, and I'll always support you." And those are the words that I remember most of all. After all, we're family.
Big brothers have great impact on younger brothers, and I go now through doing
Actually,
research.
not so much. I think it's more fathers have more of an influence
Okay.
on sons than brothers.
Fathers, and then big brothers have
Okay.
influence.
Sure.
To a certain degree. It has been said in social media, at least the little of the research I was doing,
Yes.
that primarily this has to do with exploiting or riding on the obvious international notoriety of your older brother.
Let
How
me
do
share.
you
Let me share with you something. My feeling is that I've been writing all my life. The things, and I'm glad you asked that question. The things that I've been doing, whether it's art, music, and piano, these are things that I've been doing since I was this high. I would have done them even if Barack had not been president. I think it's accelerated because there's much more attention on what I do. And I will say one thing is that when it comes to, the issue of using the name for things which are really important, which make a difference in the lives, for example, of children or people who really don't have other voices, I have no hesitation at all in using that. My feeling is always this. I remember when I wrote my first book, Nairobi to Shenzhen, I did not expect to get that much attention on the issue of, for example, of domestic violence that came up in the book. To me, it was only a few pages in the book. But that's what people focused on. And then a good friend said to me, Mark, I read this and I cried. There was a section in the book where I said I could not remember anything about my father that was good. And talk about how extreme that is, a son and a father in a relationship like that, right? It's changed since then, and I have written about the good and the bad parts. But that said, this friend said to me, Mark, to me it's inspiring because you got other kids around the world who will see that even the president's brother had this problem. And they'll say, the president of the United States and his family, they're not in an ivory tower. They actually have something that we can relate to. And hopefully, this is not what he said, but that's immediately what I got out of it. And it was an interesting point, and I realized that in many ways. I've been blessed. But to be able to use the Obama name to also make a little bit of difference. There's a comment in the book that talks about fathers and sons. Sons often try to do two things. They either achieve their father's dreams or correct their mistakes. And I've been trying to correct the mistakes, but Barack has been trying to achieve his ideals.
You have, if you may, two fathers.
Yes, that's right. That's right, Simeon Ndesandjo. I don't call myself Mark Obama. I call myself Mark Obama Ndesandjo. And the reason for that is out of respect for him. He's a person who my mother married after the divorce from Barack Obama Sr. And he lived with her and supported her and loved her for almost 37 years. And he brought up a wonderful family. And he gave me my music. He gave me my piano. He was the one who bought me my first piano. He got me into St. Mary's, which is one of the promises my mother had him make before she would marry him. And he also kept to her wishes. And these are powerful things. And it's a man, I devote a chapter in this book to him, because I want people to remember the good man that was Simeon Ndesandjo. You met him yourself, I believe, a number of times.
Great. Any final comments to our global audience?
I would just say one thing, and that is that, in spite of all of the challenges that we all face as families, I think one of the key goals is to make sure that we follow dreams with a passion. And that means that in the sense of listen to that inner voice inside you, and there's great satisfaction in knowing that you've given a little bit of yourself to those who need help. And hopefully this book will inspire some people and help people and families around the world, not just in Kenya.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mark Obama Ndesandjo launching his book, An Obama's Journey. And proceeds, part of the proceeds of the profit from the sale of these books will be going into his foundation, and as you've heard, his foundation providing pianos and teachers with the pianos.
Musical instruments, or to other organizations that do the same.
India. Thank you. That's us on the sidelines of the Sterling Quality Cocktail, annual cocktail, and our guest of honor is Mark Obama Ndesandjo.
To an eye.